Okay, everybody. Now we have the right broadcast. We're not doing the Tulsi Gabbard one until Thursday, Mike. Somebody forgot for me to give myself that memo. That you just picked the wrong live. You set up two in a row, back to back, within 2 seconds of each other, and yet you picked the wrong one. Okay. I don't know if I should feel silly or not, but maybe I should because that was pretty goofy. I don't usually do something like that, but it happens, it does happen. There we go. We're back, everybody. Here we go. Here's the right one. Now we're cooking with grease. Is that how the saying goes, or is it gasoline? I can't remember. When you get to be my age, you don't remember quite like you used to. You really don't. 51 years old is 50 and turning 50 and turning 51. Because 50 says 50 years old, I have now arrived, right? 51 says, all right, let's get this over with to get to 60 years old. And that's kind of where I'm headed right now. You just don't remember quite like you used to. And the vision starts to decrease. Yeah, it's interesting turning into your 50s because things do begin to change, at least with your eyes and your hearing. Everything else, though, I'm still a 21-year-old man or a 20-year-old man. So anyway, we are back. We are live with the right live. And we got one president, Donald J. Trump, my president, and indeed your president, right here, live on a pre-recorded broadcast where he had entertained the Irish Prime Minister. This is why we were in green today. Okay, I'm terrible with accents. I can do a pretty passable Arnold Schwarzenegger, but it's not the best. I got to listen to him for a while first, and then I could start bringing out the Arnold. I know, it's terrible. You can insult me, but just don't insult me in your mind. Okay, here we go. So, President Donald J. Trump hosting the Prime Minister of Ireland. I'm skipping that first commercial. Oh, YouTube's going to hate me for that. Skipping my own commercials. Punch it, Chewy. Here we go. Engage.
Iran or anybody, but nobody wants to have Iran with a nuclear, because these people are crazy.
They're
quacks. Absolutely crazy.
They are nuts.
And they're vicious, violent. I mean, they kill, think of it. They killed, now I hear it's about 41,000 people. They put out a notice 2 days ago. Anybody that protests will be immediately shot and killed. That's pretty tough stuff. So everyone agrees with us, but they don't want to help. And
nope.
we as the United States have to remember.
It's so frustrating too, as an American.
President Macron has just said in the last hour that he will never join a task force in the Strait of Hormuz until hostilities finish. Yet yesterday you said...
Who said that? Who said?
President Macron of France. What's your reaction to that, sir?
Well, he'll be out of office very soon, so we'll get to see.
That's true. Amen.
On Doonbeg,
welcome in everybody to my channel and yours, Mike Shriver Ministries.
And it's being held back.
Let me just make a quick announcement.
Small snails. What are you disappointed about that?
Small snails.
I have not heard that. No.
Mr. President.
Go ahead, August. Ask your question. I'm sure it's going to be a doozy.
It's been operated very successfully. Somebody's objecting. Human and environmental group is objecting to.
Mr. President.
How close the U.S. to announce a coalition of willing to secure the Strait of Hormuz? Which countries are joining and which countries have...
Well, we've had great support from the Middle East.
Which is a shock.
Qatar
I mean, you wouldn't think they would, but we
UAE
did. Europe doesn't want to let the hand out.
They've been great. Saudi Arabia has been terrific. Bahrain has been very good. The Middle Eastern countries have been very
You're
strong
out of here, dude.
in their support. And of
All
course,
right, you're
Israel
out.
has been
Get out of my chat.
Our partner.
You? How about
Israel's been very, very strong, along with our
Come on.
operation.
All right. You're not going to insult my country. Get out of here, you hack.
Against Iran. If you look back ago, I talked about Iran was a big threat to this country, to this world.
There's no doubt they are.
I was right. In fact, I said you have to attack Karg Island. You have to attack them years ago when they were acting up. They've been acting up for 37, 47, I guess now 48 years. For 48 years, they've been bad players, vicious players, and you can't let them have a nuclear weapon. If they got a nuclear weapon, I would say they would have used it within 24 hours after having it.
And the thing is, they would use a nuclear weapon against Israel. I mean, that's a given. I highly doubt they would hit anybody before Israel. And it's crazy because, you know, Europe doesn't care. And Iran's killed thousands of Americans. If you want to include their involvement somewhat with 9/11, then you got to look at Israel October 7th. Then you got to look at the Beirut bombing. You got to look at what happened back in 1979 or 77 when Jimmy Carter was in office. Reagan gets elected. He sends in the Marines, takes care of business. Then, well, actually, this coming Thursday at 8:15 a.m. right here on this channel and indeed your channel, Mike Shriver Ministries, we're going to bring the Word of God once or twice. And then we're also going to be showing live Tulsi Gabbard and Kash Patel as they take questions from Congress involving our threats across the oceans from China, from Russia, from Iran, from the drug cartels. They're going to be fielding a bunch of questions in Congress, and you're going to see it here at 8:30 a.m. right here on my channel and indeed yours, Mike Shriver Ministries. Welcome in, Yolis Flores. Good to see you again. Paul Scale, libtard. Yeah, Trump derangement syndrome has gone from demonic, let's just call it what it is, demonic oppression in most cases, straight to demonic possession, which is way worse than the oppression of demons. Some people have gotten that. It's sad. It really is, because if they die lost, or they die like that, they'll die lost.
And they would have had it if we didn't bomb them out from that great raid with the B-2 bombers 8 months ago or so. You would have had a nuclear war in the Middle East and maybe beyond. I think it would have hit Europe. Maybe not Ireland, but it would have hit Europe. I think you would have
maybe
been
in a limited capacity.
It all gets you. It's big enough that you would have been affected. They would have hit Europe eventually.
Just the winds from the radiation.
Mr. President, your director of national counterterrorism, Joe Kent, he just resigned today. He said he can't support your conflict with Iran. What's your reaction to that? And did you?
Well, I read his statement.
Then
I always
see
thought
ya.
he was a nice guy, but I always thought he
Get him
was
out.
weak on security, very weak on security. I didn't know him well, but I thought he seemed like a pretty nice guy. But when I read his statement, I realized that it's a
That's
good thing that he's
possible.
out,
He might
because
he
said
might
that
lie to Jesus.
Iran was not
but
a
that's
threat.
between him and Jesus.
Iran
That ain't my
was
business.
a threat. Every country realized what a threat Iran was. The question is whether or not they wanted to do something about it. And many people, many of the greatest military scholars are saying for
you're outta here,
years
dude.
that President should have taken out Iran because they wanted a nuclear weapon. They were, if we didn't do the attack, or if I'll go
you
a
too.
step further, if
Yeah,
I
you
didn't
can't be a
terminate
jerk about
the
things, you're
Iran
out.
nuclear deal given to us, one of the worst deals ever made by Barack Hussein Obama. Remember when they sent Boeing 757s over there, loaded with cash, hundreds of millions of dollars.
$400 million.
You would have been very happy. This was a wonderful. They said hundreds of million. People forget that. Does anybody remember? Right? You remember.
And you too.
Hundreds of millions
are
of
outta here.
dollars in a Boeing 757.
I'll just moderate this
I
all
think there
day.
are two
Don't
of
matter
them.
to me.
Loaded. They took the
So my
seats
boys
out
get in here.
and they put cash. And it was so much that
And
there
women.
wasn't a bank
And
in
women.
Virginia, Maryland, or D.C. that had any money left. They stripped them of all their money, put it into place, sent
Mm-hmm.
it to Iran, almost as ransom. That's not going to happen with Trump. And nobody ever did anything about it. Nobody ever said anything about it. Can you imagine if I did that? So they've been a threat for a long time. But they've really been a threat. If I didn't terminate Obama's horrible deal that he made, the Iran nuclear deal, you would have had a nuclear war 4 years ago. You would have had
For
nuclear
sure.
holocaust.
Computer
And
kitchen
you would
on.
have had it again if we didn't bomb the site. So when somebody is working with us that says they didn't think Iran was a threat, we don't want those people because, and there are some people, I guess I would say that, but they're not smart people or they're not savvy people. Iran was a tremendous threat And virtually every NATO nation, and this is the thing, if they told me it wasn't a threat, and therefore they don't want to help, but when
All
they
right,
say
not
it
again.
was a threat, and it was
jeepers.
a major threat, every one of them, I think every one of them, I don't know of one that said they're not a threat,
I'm
but
pretty sure
when they say it was
they're
a
probably
threat,
not
but
decent
we're not
either.
going to help, I think
Every
they're
one
very
of them.
foolish. You know, it's interesting. It's interesting because I could say this, that what's happening in Ukraine, we're probably in there for $400 billion. We don't spend any money anymore. They buy it from us and they pay full price. But Biden gave them between $350 and $400 billion of equipment and cash.
Plus
Somebody will
all
have to
the
find out
cash.
about the cash. And you could say that wasn't a threat. You know, we're helping them. So we helped them,
To kill
and
us.
they didn't help us. And I think that's a very
Ain't that
bad
crazy?
thing for NATO. Yeah.
Mr. President, Mr. President.
Are there any repercussions for NATO, and are you still going to China?
Well, yeah, on China, it's a little different story. We're resetting the meeting, and it looks like it'll take place in about 5 weeks. We're working with China. They were fine with it. We're going to say, I look forward to seeing President Xi. He looks forward to seeing me, I think. But I do look forward to seeing him. We have a good relationship with China. China actually has become economically for us very good, as you know. It's much different than it was in the past. And we have a very good working relationship with China. So we're making it in about 5 or 6 weeks.
Mr. President, Mr. President.
NATO for not supporting you on this. Any repercussions?
Well, no, I just think that it's not good for a partnership when they say what you're doing is a great thing, but we're not going to help. You know, they say
Mr.
what you did is a great thing, but we're not going to help.
Mr. President.
In Iran, because the Iranian regime has told Sky News, if you put boots on the ground in Iran, it will be another Vietnam. Are you afraid of that?
No, I'm not afraid of. I'm really not afraid of anything.
Mr. President.
Are you rethinking the United States' relationship with NATO possibly getting out? Or
Well, I'm disappointed in NATO that we spend trillions of dollars on NATO. Think of it, trillions over the years, many trillions of dollars. It's one of the reasons we have deficits and we help other countries. And when they don't help us, I mean,
And
it's
thanks to
certainly
Starmer for
something
not
that
helping the United States
we
with
should
anything.
think about. I don't need Congress for that decision, as you probably know. I can make that decision myself.
I can do
I'm
this all
working with
day,
some
trolls.
very smart
All day.
people. And I'd always deal with Congress anyway, but I don't need Congress for that decision. But you
Well,
know,
thank
when
you. Trump is
when you say
absolutely the
rethink,
greatest
I'm
of all
not-
time.
I
And
have
hey,
nothing
Jeff DePew, good to
currently
see you,
in
buddy.
mind, But I will say that
Appreciate you, brother.
I'm not exactly thrilled when we help them with Ukraine. Look, Ukraine would have been over in 1 day if we didn't.
Yeah.
help. Frankly, Ukraine would have been over in the first day. They had the best equipment in the world. It was our equipment.
Finally, somebody in here that makes
given
sense.
by Sleepy Joe
Sean,
Biden.
absolutely.
No charge. No charge. Hundreds of billions of dollars of the best equipment in the world. No charge. I will say that I'm not happy about
And then
it.
Jeff DePew is here. Yeah.
Mr. President.
Two questions, one on Iran and one on Cuba.
Oh,
Is
it's
Iran
understandable,
now
Jeff.
a
Man, I'm glad you
policy
just showed up.
priority
I don't know where everybody else
China
went, but they might be
and
busy
Cuba,
too.
the
So,
government?
mercenary
Iran is just a
trolls.
military
Where?
operation
Yeah,
to me.
exactly.
Iran is
None here.
something that was
Here's the
essentially
thing.
largely
Trolls actually help a content creator, especially as you're trying to reach the goals you need to meet as a content creator, according to YouTube. So really, trolls actually help each time they come in. They don't realize they're actually helping the content creator in a couple different ways. Yeah. Hidden dictatorship. What's that supposed to mean? Trump family is. Oh, I see. Okay, yeah. Oh, you're out of here. You're entitled to your opinion, but I'm also entitled to make a decision who I keep on my channel and get rid of. Eddie died already. Okay, I'm assuming that's something rude. I love our British allies. The people are great. The thing is, Starmer is he just can't stand to be controlled by Islam. Unfortunately, the people in Great Britain are under the control of Islam.
over in 2 or 3 days.
I mean, they don't like it. They don't want it to be that way. But France sent all their Islamic people over to Great Britain because Starmer and them let them in.
I mean, we're flying over Iran. We could take out their electric capacity in 1 hour. We have all the. There's nothing they can do right now because everything is knocked out. They have no radar, no anti-aircraft.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, of course.
And we don't. And
yeah, I love the banter. I love the conversation. But when they start insulting our president, when they start overdoing it in the chat to the point where, well, bless God, I'm going to prove my point and argue with you. Now, we don't want that here. They can go to somebody else's channel. I'm perfectly fine with that. But hey, I'm glad you're here, though, guys.
It was a decision I made. We discussed it. Pete, Marco, JD, all of us, Chris. We discussed it.
That's a good question,
knock out their electricity in
Great
a
question.
matter of minutes if we wanted to. There's nothing they can do about it. We can knock out their oil in Cargill, and the only thing we didn't take down was their oil, because if we knock out, I call them the pipes, very complex. But if you do that, it'll take them forever to rebuild, meaning whoever, and hopefully it's a sane group
I got
of people.
one. Watch this.
But whoever it is, it's going to be running that, and we're
Is
going
it
to
Brexit?
try to get people that are going to run it well, and it's going to be a prosperous, wonderful place. It used to be, if you go back, it used to be the people are great, the people are smart and energetic, and it used to be very successful.
Oh,
now
Brexit, there it is.
Country run by fear. It's a country
Check
where they
this
tell
out.
protesters,
Brexit
don't go outside, because if
went
you do, we're going to
to-
kill you.
Mr. President.
Mr. President.
Well,
I
Cuba
liked
right
it.
now is in very bad shape. They're talking to Marco, and we'll be doing something with Cuba.
You're out of here, too, because you're going to become a jerk.
We're really focused on this, but we're dealing with Cuba. Marco, do you
Yeah,
wanna say a couple of words about
definitely.
Yeah, I mean,
Texas
Cuba has an economy that
Let me
doesn't
see.
work in
Hold
a
on.
political
I
and
don't want to
governmental
keep
system. They
interrupting.
can't fix it.
Hold on, give me a second here.
It's not dramatic enough. It's not going to fix it. So they've got some big decisions to make.
The Texans are smart. Texas has banned things like Sharia law in Texas and the rest of the United States, the other 49 states. We need to ban Sharia law and stop Islam ASAP. No doubt.
Make over there.
But Secretary Rubio, do you support
There's over 2,000 Islamic mosques in the United States now. 2,000.
and I know this is up to Congress, but do you support easing the trade embargo if you get more cooperation from Havana?
Well, I'm not going to discuss what we would talk about or not. Suffice it to say that the embargo is tied to political change on the island. The embargo is codified. And but the bottom line is their economy doesn't work. It's a non-functional economy. It's an economy that has survived. That revolution. It's not even a revolution. That thing they have has survived on subsidies from the Soviet Union and now from Venezuela. They don't get subsidies anymore, so they're in a lot of trouble. And the people in charge they don't know how to fix it. So they have to get new people in charge. That's what has
And the
to happen.
relationship we have with Venezuela has been, I think you could almost say, incredible. It's been really good. It's been good for Venezuela, and it's been good for us. And I congratulate the Venezuelan baseball team, because that was a big win, and I guess they play another game tonight in the finals.
US.
This is the first time they've ever been in the finals, and it was pretty exciting. Yeah.
Iran is just a military operation to you. But do you not have a day after plan? And if so, what is your day after plan for Iran?
Well, we have a lot. Look, if we left right now, it would take 10 years for them to rebuild. But we're not ready to leave yet. But we'll be leaving in the near future. We'll be leaving in pretty much the very near future. But right now, they've been decimated from every standpoint. And again, we've had great support from countries in the Middle East, great support. But we've had no support from, essentially, no support from NATO.
Wow, 350 watching. That's awesome. Hey, Country Carpenter.
What about your relationship
Good to
with
see you.
London? Has it been damaged by the fact that Keir Starmer isn't supporting you in this war? And has your opinion of Keir Starmer changed because of this?
Well, he hasn't been supported.
Yeah, it's been doing that off and on for the last couple minutes.
I did.
It's
I went out
fixed
of my
now,
way,
though.
as you
You're
know,
about
they couldn't
30
make a deal
seconds
with
behind where
Biden.
I'm at. So any changes I make take about
because
30
they had
seconds
no
to a
real
minute for you
administration
guys to
make a
see.
deal. Biden, but we made a deal. We made a good deal for them, and frankly, probably wasn't appreciated. I do look forward to seeing.
There it goes again, gray screen. I'm just happy we got signal.
But no, I was disappointed because Keir was willing to send 2 aircraft carriers after we won, because essentially there's no threat for the aircraft carriers right now. And they said, no, we want things sent before the war, not after the war is won. So, yeah, I'm disappointed with Keir. I like him. I think he's a nice man, but I'm disappointed.
Mr. President.
You see that man right there? You know who that is?
Why does it keep doing that?
The late, great Winston Churchill.
I wonder if I can find
and Barack
a
Hussein
better...
Obama did not want his bust in this office. Did you know that? And Barack Hussein
Isn't that
Obama
crazy?
sent that bust
That's
back
crazy.
to England. They didn't want
What?
it.
I didn't know he did that much.
And when I came in, I was
How
asked
stupid.
if I wanted it.
Where
I
did
said,
we find
"Absolutely,
him
I
for
want
a
it."
president
And I
from?
put it right there, Winston Churchill.
Ridiculous.
And, unfortunately, Keir is not Winston Churchill.
Do you have
Mr. President.
It pissed on me.
No, hold it. Right.
Just could I
Hold it.
just make a number of points? First of all, I think, notwithstanding what has happened, the transatlantic relationship between Europe and the US is very, very important on a number of fronts. And I think we've had issues over the last year or two, but we settled them. And I think many of these leaders engaged with you, particularly on trade initially. Remember all the fuss last year, but we got a landing zone between Europe and US, and I think we can get a landing zone again. And I think I just met with Keir Starmer last week. The British-Irish relationship is a very important one. Churchill was a great wartime leader, although in Ireland there was kind of a different perspective in terms of during our own war of independence and so on. He created his own bit of difficulties for us. But that said, he was a great wartime hero. Keir Starmer has done a lot to reset the Irish-British relationship. I just want to put that on the record. But I do believe that he's a very earnest, sound person who I think you have a capacity to get on with. You've got on with him before, and you've got on with other European leaders as well. Sure. And I think you have that capacity again. And I think everyone exists. I mean, you cannot have a rogue state with a nuclear weapon or the capacity for a nuclear weapon. Iran was the sponsor of terrorism. We sanctioned Iran. All European countries did, as and the IRGC in particular, as a terrorist organisation. They sponsored Hamas. They sponsored Hezbollah.
Yeah, he could choose what items are in the old. Well, of course he can.
The most maligned force in the Middle East. The Irish position
you mean?
has always been
You're talking about
ultimately,
Obama.
Can we resolve this?
Well,
Obama
was a flat-out jerk.
Preconditions before you get
he
to
needed
that
to
situation.
go.
We had our own conflict, which went on for 30 years, and we learned a lot from that in terms of how to try and bring about peace. And I think I've listened to you in terms of, you're correct. I mean, our hearts go to the Iranian people who have been repressed and suppressed for so many years, culminating in that savage murder of thousands
Amen,
and thousands
mercenary.
of
Amen.
Iranians some months ago. No one was in a position to do anything.
That's right, Pale.
About that.
Absolutely.
I think. And likewise with
okay,
Ukraine,
brother.
I mean,
Jeff,
the Russians
appreciate
did,
you, man. I'll see you next time I see you.
invade Ukraine,
Have a good night.
Have taxed
Appreciate
civilian
you.
infrastructure and so on like that. And for the people of Ukraine who just want peace and an opportunity
Yeah,
to
he
live, I
did
think
not have
there
an
is-
easy
I
life.
think
No.
We have to continue to
No.
work.
I think
to
his
see
grandmother
how we bring
raised
peace,
him, and she was on drugs for quite
different
some
regime
time.
to Iran, where Iranians can live in peace again. And the people
But
in the
they'll
Middle East
find
can live
any
in
way they
peace,
can
and
to
we're
run
doing a bit there
down
in terms of,
anybody that supports Trump. It's so
working
sad.
Gaza and so on like that.
But
And
yeah,
that's what we-
JD
that's
had
what we
a
want,
rough
is
life.
Peaceful resolution of conflict. That's what
What
we
was
come from
that?
as a small nation. We've been peacekeepers all our lives. And we're the longest serving nation in terms of provision of peacekeeping forces in the world. As it turns
Yeah,
out.
mercenary.
But
I want Vance
all
Rubio or
conflicts come to an
Rubio
end, and I
Vance.
think we have to
Either
try and,
way's good.
work towards that end. And I'm
JP,
sure
how you
European
doing?
leaders and
Eric,
the US
how you doing?
administration
Welcome in,
will
everybody.
engage,
We got
and,
500 folks
hopefully we
watching
can
right
get
now.
a landing zone. So
Appreciate y'all.
I mean, the only thing, and I agree with everything you said, but we helped with Ukraine,
yes.
and they don't help with Iran. And they all acknowledge that Iran can't have a nuclear weapon. You yourself say it. You know, these are horrendous people. These are the worst people, and going back to Hitler, right? Going back to Hitler, these are the worst people. That's a long time ago, and there's been nothing close. Every problem, every so many deaths. 90% of the people that got blown up by landmines, they loved them. You know, Soleimani, we killed him. If we didn't, it might be a different story, because he was a horrible person, but he was a very powerful person and leader, smart. But we killed him. If we didn't, I think you'd have it. I did. But I think it would have maybe a different situation. It wouldn't have been so easy as it has been, because it has been very easy. You know, it's all of their military is there, but you can always have somebody drop a mine in the water. It's like
yeah, we're going to have Tulsi and Kash Patel live as they speak to the Senate. I think it is the Senate on Thursday.
We thought that Europe would help that,
I just put that up. Some minesweepers. If you're subscribed, you should get the notification.
That, you know,
that's right, Eric Rubio's awesome.
Great job. They were calling me, congratulating us on the great job we did with respect to Iran, and we knocked the hell out of them. They're no longer the bully of the Middle East. They were known as the bully of the Middle East, and they're not the bully anymore. But
it might have been money that was held back because of sanctions. So does it actually belong to them if it's held back on sanctions?
But they didn't do that. So,
I might be wrong on that, so I have to double check that. But yeah,
I think it's very unfair to.
That's what I had heard.
Not to me, but to the United States. Go ahead, please.
No, Trump has not lost.
She's a fantastic reporter.
And you're out of here.
Go ahead.
The Prime Minister isn't making the case to the British public as to why he should be supporting you. Could you do that now and talk to the UK and to GB News viewers about why it's in their interest that we help you?
Well, because we have a tremendous long-term relationship with the UK. I mean, people would say it's the best. I don't want to get into that, but we've had, it was the longest, the oldest, should be the best. Always was the best until Keir came along, and I like him. He's a nice man. He says everything beautiful. He's a very nice man with a
he might be
family.
Eloquent and eloquent, but
he
he's a
doesn't
jerk.
produce. And
okay, yeah, we speak English in here, not. Well, maybe if you could type in Klingon, I'll accept that. That in English only.
Your aircraft carriers, but even the aircraft carriers, he would only send them after we essentially won. I mean, he's sending them without.
Armor would have let Great Britain send a couple ships just to show solidarity, but he's too far gone with Islam in Britain in order for him to help the United States. Because you'd have the Islamic Republic in that nation, his nation, rise up.
But so we don't even know if there are any mines there. But if there are, you know, we'd like to have a little help in finding them. Probably most importantly.
Would you like to change your Prime Minister? Do you have confidence in Keir Starmer? Would you prefer to deal?
Well, it's not for me. It's really for the people of the UK to have confidence.
Of course, but is he?
I've been very critical of Keir, and I did it in a friendly way. I said, if you don't change your energy thing and get away from windmills and go back to oil and gas, and you have something that's no other country has. Very
Smart
few
on your part,
have
John.
like it, the North Sea. You have some of the greatest oil and oil deposits in the entire world. The North Sea. They don't use it. You buy a lot of your oil from Norway. You know where they get their oil from?
As I said earlier, when I guess it was France had dumped all their Islamic community, like got rid of them, into Great Britain, and Great Britain said, not the people, mind you, the government, not the people. Just like there's a lot of good Democrat people in the United States that are not in Congress. It's their government officials that allowed all this Islam to come into their country, just like Biden opened the borders. And so does the left in Britain. They wanted all that to come in. So they had some idea that they could maintain power if all the Islamic people voted for the ones that let them in their country. But let us not forget, Islam moves into an area. It gains and tries to maintain control and then begins changing laws slowly but surely. You cannot trust them. There are over 2,000 mosques, and I'm not stupid. I know what the First Amendment says. I wasn't born tomorrow. I'm pretty smart today. But Islam is a belief that is a death to everything that doesn't convert to them. And they will slowly but surely take over a section of this country at a time if we're not careful. Great Britain, same with you guys. I feel sorry for you guys. You don't even got a Second Amendment.
And you pay a And I tell them, and you have the better part of the North Sea. So why aren't they taking the oil from the North Sea? Why are they buying oil from Norway? But they have windmills all over the country, destroying those gorgeous Scottish fields and those beautiful fields all over the windmills, which don't work. They're tremendously expensive. And the best testament to that is the windmills are made in China, but China doesn't use them. You know what China uses? Coal. They're building 58 coal-fired plants right now, and that's up
I
to
agree
them.
with you, John. I feel
But
sorry for your people.
These foolish countries that are buying windmills, putting them out of business, I'm proudly telling you that we're going to try and have no windmills built in the United States during my... They're very bad. They're very bad environmentally. They kill the birds. They're unsightly. They make a lot of noise. And for some reason, the environmentalists love windmills, okay?
You say he's a very nice man. Is that
I
what
think
you
he's a
need in
nice
wartime
man. I think he's a nice man.
Yeah,
but I
Virginia's
disagree
getting
with
hit
him on
hard
two
right
things,
now.
Primarily, his immigration policy is a disaster, and his energy policy is a disaster. And they're about the biggest policies you can have.
Keep saying
You've
the same
allowed
stuff over and
millions and millions and millions of people to come into your country that shouldn't be there. And by the way, that's all over Europe. Europe is a different place. It's a different place. And you know, I originate, to put it nicely, many of us do, from Europe. I love Europe. I've spent a lot of time in Europe. It's a different place. Bad things have happened to Europe. Very bad things. And you better do something about immigration, and you better do something about energy, or you won't have a Europe.
I have not. Was that the other day in Virginia when that shooting happened at that college? If that's the case, I was covering the Michigan, driving into a school, and that guy's crazy.
The water, and it won't be too long. And
my mom died, Johnny
Middle
boy.
Eastern states, including Israel, by the way, who has been terrific. The Middle Eastern states have been helping us a lot. Go ahead, you.
Mr. President, on fuel prices, what do you have to say to the people in Ireland who are paying sky-high prices because of your war in Iran?
Well, I think the people in Ireland are very happy that I'm getting rid of, I have a lot of friends from Ireland, they're very happy that I'm getting rid of a nuclear power, a nuclear terrorist. And as soon as that war's over, which will be soon, your prices are going to drop like a rock. You watch. I've been very good at predicting. In the back.
Mr. President, what do you think about our president's comments that... What do you think about our president's comments?
Can you speak? You're speaking right into your phone.
Mr. President, how do you respond to the and consulate in the Kurdistan region?
You want to answer that, JD? You want to?
Yeah. The state has control over the embassy. Look, there have been a lot of militia attacks against our base or our embassy in Iran. I think Marco's done a good job of limiting the number of people who are at that embassy so we can provide essential functions but also protect our people. But it goes to show there are a lot of terrorists in that
They
region.
don't belong
of the world,
here, and
we've
you
got to
know it,
eliminate when we
and
find
neither
them.
do you belong on my channel, so get out of here.
You can give them rifles, you can give them guns, you can't give them nuclear weapons. I think we agree very strongly. Yes, excuse me.
Just first of all, I would say, like, Europe is still a very good place to live in.
Good.
Just to let you know.
I'm glad to hear that.
And our view is you have to have robust and fair rules around migration. But on the other hand, a lot of people, within the European Union, we have free mobility of people. And in Ireland, our population is growing, but in a very positive way. Our economy is going well because we're attracting a lot of people from Europe and beyond into work.
Oh yeah, no doubt, mercenary. They're a dime a dozen.
If we could develop a legal pathway between the US and Ireland into the
Can't speak English? Don't be in here. Get out of here.
A legal pathway, because no one is in favour of illegal migration or and so forth. So you have to have robust rules for that. But fundamentally, I think sometimes Europe gets characterised wrongly in terms of it being overrun or whatever.
Yeah, he's trying to say Muslims are causing no harm. As soon as they call it jihad, even the average citizen of Islam has to, according to what they believe, they could be killed without rising up if they're told to.
It doesn't have the same focus on innovation as you do here in the US. We discussed that earlier with the Vice President in terms of technology, in terms of AI. We need to pivot more to innovation.
Looks like my moderators are busy today.
Regulation.
Or Jeff is working hard. I appreciate that about him. Jeff's a good man. They all are good, I guess. I don't know. Maybe they didn't get the notification I went live, but that's okay. I can bury bury trolls just myself.
Your war against Iran is illegal. It's an attack on international.
All right, you're out of here.
Who said that?
The Irish president.
Look, he's lucky I exist. That's all I can say. Because if you're going to allow countries that are sick and demented, and they are demented, to have nuclear weapons, everybody in the whole world should be very thankful. And I'm disappointed in NATO, very disappointed. I'm disappointed in a couple of other countries too. But they should be very thankful that this group of people feels the way we do. Because if a country like Iran was allowed to have the power of a nuclear weapon, if we didn't stop them, I stopped them twice. I stopped them my first term when I terminated the Iran nuclear deal, which was Barack Obama's deal. It was one of the, maybe the worst deal I've ever seen. It gave everything to Iran, including billions of dollars in green cash. I don't mean cash, I mean green cash flown over by airplanes. I can't to this day believe that was allowed to happen. And come to think of it, it would be a good thing for somebody to look at. Does the president have the power to hand hundreds of millions of dollars of cash to terrorists? But it began with that, and I terminated that deal. If I didn't terminate that deal, we might not be here right now. If I
Jim
didn't terminate
Brett,
that
good
deal,
to see you, buddy.
Unbelievable nuclear holocaust would have taken place. And then I did it a second time when we hit them with the B-2 bombers, and we totally obliterated their potential nuclear weapon that they would have had in less than 1 month. They think 2 weeks, but in less than 1 month. And it would have been, I believe it would have been a much different world than it is right now. We have to go, we're going to a lunch, so maybe we'll take one more nice question.
One more nice
Can I ask
question.
you how you're doing with your legal case against the BBC and their fake news documentary?
Well, the BBC
Kim just needs a
was
friend.
incredible. What they did.
That's a good point. I guess
is
we
they
all
had
need friends.
me speaking something I never said. And I've never seen anything quite like it. You know, CBS had that. We had the situation on 60 Minutes, and not the current owners, the past owners. The current owners, I think, are good, Ellison. But BBC took it a step further. They actually they put words in my mouth, and I said some pretty bad things. And I didn't say them. It was AI generated.
You're out of here. Dear God.
And I said, I never
idiot.
said that. In fact, some of my people said, wow, that was pretty bad stuff you said. I said, what did I say? You know, I'm pretty
Kinda
good at
funky.
this stuff.
I don't believe
if
that's
you
actually
can
a woman that
go
would
through
say that.
years of these press conferences, and you're a popular president of the United States that won in a landslide, that won all 7 swing states, that got record numbers of votes. I mean, so I guess I'm okay at this stuff.
It's kind of hard to get any
I
good
said, I never
conversation
said
in
that.
here right
And
now,
then we
Jim.
found
Yeah,
out it was AI generated.
it's troll heavy,
And
and
they
I don't know
admit
where
they
my
made a
moderators
mistake.
are, but they might be busy.
BBC.
So.
But I
I
watched
know
them
Jeff's
this morning
working.
for some crazy reason, and it was so inaccurate. Their reporting of the war was unbelievable. We have decimated that country, and if you watch BBC, it's almost like they're fighting us to a draw. They're not fighting us to a draw. It was very inaccurate news. It was fake news. So I'm very proud of the term fake news because it was my term. I came up with it.
That's right.
But it's no
Oh,
longer
crap.
accurate. It really is. It's corrupt, fraudulent news. It really is. It's fraudulent. It's not just fake. It's beyond fake. It's really criminal what they do. But I watched BBC this morning, and I don't know much about BBC other than what took place. Because
Who's the biggest liar in Washington? That's why I stopped your
I said, what did I
message
say?
from being
I
deleted.
said, I never said that. And
Because
when
I seen it
checked
was you, Jim Brett,
You
and I thought,
agree.
wait a minute,
They agree.
Jim wouldn't say something like
was
that.
Somehow generated, I guess, by AI or something, with me saying unbelievable. So we brought a lawsuit against them. They admit they're guilty, but we'll see how it comes out. Thank
Yeah,
you.
that would be Adam Schiff or any Democrat, actually.
I like
Yeah.
Adam Schiff. Thank you very much. We'll see you later. Thank you.
Do you ever notice how they just keep talking and talking and talking when they all say, you guys got to get out of here, go get. They just keep going. I mean, do they really think that Trump's Biden and he's going to stop and just start talking to all of them again? Some people's children, I suppose. Let's see here. Let's go to, I think we covered that one earlier. All right, so let's get rid of that one and then go to here.
He is a national security reporter at Reuters. He says this: Israeli military says it is launching wide-range strikes.
My heart was broken.
Tehran.
In fact, the guy that
Phil
took
Jones,
Crockett's
we
place
live
is
here
even
this
worse than
morning. We'll
Crockett,
bring him on
from my
to
understanding.
Talk about the latest regarding this entire situation and what is happening right now on the ground. Phil, good morning. Good to have you.
Good morning. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Who's this Not a Penny More Club?
All right, so based off of that latest
he's out
social
of here.
media
Keep
post,
saying
we're
the same
following all
stupid
of these
stuff over and
minute-by-minute
over again.
developments. Break it down for our viewers. What is happening on the ground there, not just in Tehran, also in Israel, Lebanon, so many different points that we're focused on?
What we're seeing right now is a pretty major a set of strikes that have happened in recent hours that have taken out, one of the most important figures in Iran, and
the hairline of a bald eagle. I'll take that as a compliment, since the United States official symbol is the bald eagle.
The supreme leader at one point, and we're also seeing major strikes across Tehran. We're seeing Iran retaliate. There's been a major boom over Doha and a missile interception there. So you're seeing, again, escalation throughout the region. You're seeing Israeli strikes, U.S. strikes, and we're trying to get a better sense of whether or not this conflict is entering another phase of serious degradation of Iranian military capabilities.
You mentioned something very important there right off the top, which is what we started really the program with today, the killing of 2 top Iranian officials. Taking a look here, there's a couple of posts from the IDF. This one specifically focuses on Ali Larijani, the Secretary of Iran's Supreme National Security Council and the regime's
Hey, there's
leader.
Jeff. Or no, wait, that was earlier. I hit refresh. Unless you're back.
And when you have the elimination of such key prominent figures after another group of major figures were killed in just the opening salvos of the campaign, you really wonder, how is the U.S. going to negotiate an end? Who would they negotiate with? How will the Iranian military respond in a cohesive, organized way, or will it really be up to local commanders to decide how to respond? Against targets both in the Gulf and U.S. targets, but perhaps ships and U.S. bases. So, there are a lot of questions that we have right now, but the main ones are, who's in control.
It's also important to note that the newly announced Supreme Leader also hasn't made any public statements. We've had some statements that have been attributed to him, but we haven't seen him publicly just yet. So the U.S. right now also working to figure out who are they going to be speaking with and who, as you mentioned, is really leading the regime, especially as this conflict does escalate. I want to go back to U.S. involvement, though, and really military strategy going forward. Now, we know that the U.S. is sending more troops there to the region. Based off of your reporting, Phil, based on of what you're hearing, what is the goal right now? What stage are we in when it comes to U.S. military involvement there in this conflict?
So I think there's 2 different ways of looking at that. One is the Pentagon keeps talking about its current mission, which is to degrade Iran's ability to attack other countries. So that would be its missile force, its ability to produce drones and field those drones, its navy, and on all sides of that, the United States is striking more and more targets every day and degrading Iran's ability to attack abroad. But there's another line of effort that seems to be emerging, which is President Trump's desire for the U.S. and coalition allies that have yet to kind of step forward to safeguard the Strait of Hormuz, so that energy prices can start to stabilize a little bit. Right now, you're seeing tremendous pressure on energy markets because the Strait of Hormuz, which controls about 20% of the world's crude oil traffic, is essentially shut down to all but a couple of countries. I think India's had some tankers go through. You've seen Iran still exporting oil. But in general, you've seen a shutdown there. So the U.S. may be moving toward another mission, and that's something we're watching very closely.
Speaking of the Strait of Hormuz, we do have and continue to have this live radar system. It kind of shows the traffics there along the strait, how the vessels are coming and going at this time. And that's where I want to go for this next question, Phil, because as you mentioned, President Trump calling on several of his allies, or U.S. allies really as a whole, to send military forces there to the Strait of Hormuz, not to just try to solve this problem of the disruption, but also to police it in a sense. He's not getting a lot of enthusiasm from many of these countries. So what makes them so hesitant to go along with this plan, especially because these countries also being heavily impacted by these disruptions?
It's a good question, and there are different ways of looking at it depending on the country. In some cases, there are legal issues. Being part of a coalition off of Iran right now, while there's attacks going on against Iran by the United States and by Israel, and for some countries that would be seen as being kind of a co-belligerent in that conflict. And then, so there's a legal issue there. And secondly, there are real capability issues amongst some countries. Can they really, with the militaries that they have, field ships that can defend themselves? Would they be reliant on U.S. defense? Would they rather be part of a U.S. coalition, or would they rather be part of a European coalition, which may have a different ability to negotiate risk with Iran? So there are lots of considerations, and each of these countries is looking at it from their own perspective. And lastly, if you'll allow me, there was a campaign that was launched in 2023 that was kind of similar in sense that the U.S. wanted a coalition to stand up to the Houthis and help ensure traffic made it.
Yeah, Bubba, everything's going well.
Off of Yemen.
It's been a nice day.
And
at least my electricity came back on after that massive storm Michigan got hit by.
We saw with Yemen, given the capabilities.
We actually got it turned on 48 hours, almost 36 hours
photographer
before it was supposed
in Beirut,
to.
kind of panning around. We have seen smoke, those operations happening earlier. So I want to make sure that we get all of these real-time updates here for our viewers. But at the same time, taking a couple of social media posts as well. Reuters with this one saying that Iran's foreign minister said the Strait of Hormuz is closed only to countries involved in the conflict, while others can transit medically behind the scenes.
That is a really good question. Yesterday as well, there was an Axios reporter, a well-known one, who had actually put out conflicting reports about whether there was any outreach at all. Reuters has, been reporting that there kind of isn't active diplomacy at all right now. And I would imagine that after the attacks by Israel that killed, the security chief and someone that the U.S. had maybe hoped could be a more pragmatic intermediary in a future Iran. I am concerned that there are, outstanding questions about the viability of talks right now. It's a real issue.
A lot of outstanding questions, and one of them that maybe.
Let's go on to the next one. And got to decloak it first. Here we go.
It's just a few months away, but Democrats are being called out for facing an identity crisis. Former President Obama's 2012 campaign manager, Jim Messina, telling Axios, quote, "You can't win a presidential election on opposition alone. The midterms are going to be 85 to 90% driven by voter opposition to Trump and maybe 10 to 15% based on what Dems stand for. We cannot rely on that same calculation to win in 2028. Here to weigh in, former Obama fundraiser Allison Wynn. Allison, can the Democrats find a path forward post-Trump, or is the Democrat Party as we knew it too far gone to come back?
Oh, it's way gone.
Good morning, Todd.
Way gone.
St. Patrick's Day. Yes, they're really too far gone. They rely on socialism and weaponized
like
empathy. We as a country, a spiritual country, Christian
funny.
nation, we're very empathetic to the homeless, to the poor, obviously, to the immigrants. We're very empathetic, and they weaponize it against us and turn Americans against Americans, whereas the Republicans, and I can appreciate this as a mom of 3 young kids, we're all about problem solving. Let's build our families. Let's rebuild America. And that's what President Trump has done. Look at how we're rebuilding America. Infrastructure to our energy system.
Yeah, that guy's got to go too.
The first new refinery in America in Texas. So that way we have energy independence. We're first in AI. We're first in space, satellite technology. And actually, a company that I recently invested in
I
was
haven't
one of
seen
the first
trolls
startups
this
to
thick
reach
in
coal
probably a week.
neutrality, or
It's crazy
basically
today.
about to split the atom.
Oh, wow.
So America is winning by investing and building
But
America
everyone that comes
technology
in
and
here just to
infrastructure.
be an
And
annoyance
that's what
actually
Republican
helps the channel
policies
grow.
are
So
about,
that's,
solving
from a
problems
certain
at
point of view,
home,
there's nothing
and
wrong
we
with
see
trolls.
solving problems abroad. And President Trump is doing a really good job taking care of the tyrants. Drug problems all over the world and in the U.S., and we took out Maduro.
Splitting the atom. I wasn't expecting to hear that on my Tuesday morning, but that's pretty cool stuff. I want to switch gears a little bit. Sympathies for Israel plummeting within the Democrat Party, with a new NBC poll showing this. In 2013, 34% of Democrats in the coming years.
Yes, I do
Absolutely,
feel
it's
they
a
will
wonderful
lean,
idea.
Americans, because we
Not
are
the
standing
Iranian
up to Maduro,
people,
and we
but
are
the insane
we're standing up
Ayatollah
to
Insani
the tyrants who are going after
was
Israel.
running that-
they're going after
that
Americans,
country that's
and
got
they're
such
going after
potential.
other
on,
Muslims
Kat.
in Dubai and
Come on.
Saudi Arabia.
Good
We
girl.
have to
Come on.
stand up
Come on.
against these tyrants, and young Americans and Jewish Americans understand that. However, we
Did
have
you
to
really?
balance that and
30,000?
make
I
sure
was,
that we're not
let me
going
see
to
here.
put
What's that at?
boots on the ground, or very limited boots on the ground. This war, as young Americans know, it's going to be won inexpensively with drones, with cyber attacks, on social media, with misinformation. And so to really get the young voters in the midterm.
Yeah, we've had so this channel now is, as far as going live, this channel is on day number 437. And ever since the war started, because I preach and teach the word, and that was the primary focus of the channel, which is still is the primary. But ever since the war started, this channel has exploded. I'm averaging 150,000 views a day, 1 million by the grace of God, 4 days ago. And now I'm over 1.7 million views. So I've picked up 700,000 views. I should be breaking 2 million views by Friday or Saturday, if not before. So yeah. But I know what you mean, though. I mean, I was in Max Afterburner USA moderating about 10 or 12 days ago now. Now I'm kind of like a backup moderator, which is fine because my channel keeps me busy. And he was getting 13. I think it was 23,000 viewers in there at one time. And then a couple days later, after the war started getting going, that dropped down to like 5,000 viewers at a time. So it's pretty.
Focus on all the wins I talked about at home, the wins in AI. Let's do some more wins with healthcare, direct to consumer for some of those subsidies, healthcare subsidies, so that way Americans can get prescription drugs
Agreed.
through Trump Rx.
And that's definitely the Republican platform. But when it comes to the state of Israel, I cannot see a majority of Jewish Americans voting Democrat in the coming years. I just don't see it the way the current numbers are going, the way the Democrat Party is basically abandoning Israel at every turn. Allison, got to leave it there. Thank you for your insight. We appreciate it.
I'm Steve Doocy. I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Mike Shriver. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest.
On to our next video. A little information, a little news on Cuba, a little tiny, minute island off the coast of Florida, 50 miles, south west or something like that, southeast. Here we go. And we got to decloak it. Everything. And now they've all disappeared. But I understand they have lives more than my channel. So
Cuba in some form, yeah.
Welcome in from Scotland. Good to have you with us today.
Free it, take it. I think I can do anything I want with it.
Pretty much. When you got the power.
Nicole Malliotakis is a Republican from New York and joins me now. Now
I'm
you're
waiting
the
for
daughter of a Cuban
Greenland
refugee.
to become
taking
next
Cuba, as the
state.
president says, what does it look like?
Well, this is something that the Cuban Americans have been waiting for 67 years. I think that.
Oh, you're in California? Oh, it's great to have a conservative, or at least somebody at least supports Trump in California in here. Nice to have you. It's been nice talking with you.
There's feelings about that from the Cuban community, but at the end of the day, what they really want is just for this communist regime that destroyed their lives, stole their businesses, stole their homes, to be gone. And until that happens, we're not going to see real change in Cuba. I know that there were reports of allowing investment to come to the island. That's simply just not going to happen. And anyone who would
Who's going to invest in
the island
Cuba
under the
right
current
now?
conditions,
Yeah.
with a rigged legal system, with a communist regime, would be foolish.
That makes no sense.
This is a regime
The
that,
government
for
would
example,
take your
stole
stuff
my grandfather's small business,
so
his gas
fast.
station, stole his home. And why would anyone invest there if they don't see a change in government?
Yeah.
And so
Well, I'm glad you're here,
we will see
mercenary. It's
Diaz
great to
Canel
have you.
leave. We will
You've been
see
one of the
political
bright
parties
spots
form,
of
and we will see a
the
free
third
and
time
fair
I went
election
live
in the
today.
near future.
Had a
And
lot
I
of
have
technical
great
difficulty.
hope
Don
that
Trump
my
is
mother
in the
will live to
house.
see that
Good to
day
see
and
you,
that
Don.
Cuban Americans will be
Good
able
to
to
see ya.
celebrate a return to their homeland.
In fact, Don's been with me so long, I'm going to make him a managing moderator.
Wants to force a vote to fund Homeland Security, but not
South
fund
Africa's in the
ICE
house.
or
Hello,
Border Patrol.
Toom.
Is that the way to get the airports moving again?
But think about how ridiculous that is on the 25th anniversary of 9/11, when we have the World Cup coming, when we have so many events around our country surrounding the 250th anniversary of our nation, and they don't want to fund the borders to make sure that they're secure so we know who is coming in and out of our country. They don't want to have ICE operating to deport potential terrorists or people in this country illegally. Just the other day, we saw an illegal immigrant who was deported 4 times, arrested 15 times, throw an 83-year-old veteran on the subway tracks
Yeah,
in New York
Cuba.
City. In addition to
China
another
would love to
individual.
have a hold of Cuba.
Why doesn't Hakeem Jeffries, why doesn't Chuck Schumer want ICE to be able to have the ability
Yeah, that
to
wouldn't be good at
detain
all
and
for
deport
Cuba
that
and
individual?
China
That's
to
the real
become one with
question.
another.
And so, look, I'll fund anything that will get our...
It'd be like us having Taiwan, right? We're allies with Taiwan.
But it needs to be
and then
part of an
China's
overall
using
Department of
Cuba as an
Homeland
ally.
Security package.
It's crazy.
You can't just piecemeal this. It's all important.
Got it. One more for you. Secretary of the Supreme National Security Council of Iran, Ali Larijani, he's been killed, and so has the leader of the Basij. Is this endgame for the war, Congresswoman?
Well, I'm not sure if it's endgame just yet, but it certainly is significant. Many people believe that he was the one actually running the country at this time since the Ayatollah was killed. The son is really
Hey,
more of
kitty
a
cat, what you
figurehead.
doing, huh?
So this is significant, and we're making progress each and every day. You're seeing their ballistic missile capacity being deteriorated, the drone manufacturing being deteriorated, the naval, the Air Force, dozens of ships have been
Cat,
destroyed.
what are you doing?
This is very significant, and the American military, along with our ally Israel, continues on a course that is critically important for the safety of the United States, of Israel, the Middle East, and the world, and we should just continue to support them, but let's hope that the end is near.
I hope so too. Congresswoman Nicole Malliotakis, thank you very much for joining us this morning. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole. And on to our next video. Let's remove that one and pull up another one. And I got to go use the restroom. I'll try not to go scuba diving. But if I don't come back in time, the next video should play immediately afterwards, although it might be old news because there's not one in my queue. Let's see. How many minutes we got in this one? I mean, how many minutes does it take to go to the bathroom anyway? 10 minutes? That's short. Okay. All right, guys. I'll be right back. Don, you have the bridge. Number 1. Here we go. Yeah, there's a lot of trolls today. So my moderators, if you're out there listening, if you can jump in the chat, it would be great because it looks like it's just me and Don Trump. Hey, at least I'm with a Trump. I feel a little bit safer. And I got my friend Mercenary here too. I like Mercenary 1. I think this is your first time here, isn't it? And if it's not your first time, I apologize. I mean, we go through so many people a day. I mean, man, and I banned over 1,000 people since the 2nd of January when this channel finally went live instead of just doing uploads. I'm not afraid to ban people. I mean, because if you put somebody in timeout, I mean, if they swear or something, I've decided to put them in timeout. Maybe they just accidentally did it because that's all they know. Hey, there's Jeff Depew. No, it's okay, brother Jeff. I get it. You got to get ready for work. Jeff Depew has been faithful to my channel since as long as I could possibly remember. And he's a great man. And he loves the Lord. And he loves America. He loves Trump. And he loves Larry with Larry O'Connor right here on YouTube. Monday through Friday from noon p.m. to now about 1:30 p.m., which is fantastic. The more Larry O'Connor in one day, the better off life is. Larry with Larry O'Connor on YouTube. And here we go. Punch it, Chewy. I need to cheer up.
What
I do. I got
are
to
your
cheer up.
advisors telling you about the Ayatollah's
All right, I'm going to go
son,
scuba
the new
diving.
Supreme leader?
A lot of people are saying that he's badly disfigured. They're saying that he lost his leg, one leg, and he's been hurt very badly. Other people are saying he's dead. Nobody's saying he's 100% healthy. This one we haven't seen at all. So that could be for a lot of different reasons.
That's President Trump yesterday on Iran's new supreme leader, the Khomeini's son, who's not been seen in public since Khomeini was killed by U.S.-Israeli strikes back in February. This morning we are learning breaking news: Iran's security chief, who General Jack Keane told me earlier was effectively running the country for the last 18 months, well, he was killed overnight by an IDF airstrike. Here's the general with me earlier.
Yeah, this is really quite significant. Larijani, not well known, has been running the country for the last 18 months, day in and day out. He has subsumed the power of the presidency. When the supreme leader, the Ayatollah, was alive, he designated him to run the country on an interim basis. Only he's been running it for sure since the Ayatollah died, despite the fact that his son has been appointed Mojab, as his successor. So this is the most significant leadership impact of the war since the Ayatollah was killed on day one of the war. It is a huge deal here. And from what I understand, other leaders were also killed.
Joining me now is the Chief of Staff for His Royal Highness Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi, Kamran Khan-Sarinian. Kamran, thanks very much for being here this morning. What is your reaction to the head of security in Iran being eliminated overnight?
Well, Maria, it's very good to be with you. General Keane was exactly right. Larijani played a critical role in holding up this criminal regime. Not only had he been running many affairs of state for the past several months, he was personally responsible for the crackdown that took place in response to Prince Reza Pahlavi's call to Iranians to take to the streets January 8th and 9th. Khamenei, Larijani, and other figures of this regime ordered a crackdown in which, according to President Trump, more than 32,000 innocent and peaceful protesters were slaughtered. So the fact that this mass murder has been eliminated, the fact that he can no longer kill innocent Iranians, the fact that he can no longer order terrorist attacks on American civilians, on Israelis, and innocent people around the world is certainly good news. It's good news for the Iranian people, who are becoming increasingly empowered to take down not only Khamenei and Larijani, but this entire criminal establishment that has taken the nation hostage. And it was President Trump's leadership and decisive action that allowed us to get to this point. Yeah,
but Kamran, the Wall Street Journal this morning is reporting that Iran has unleashed a new crackdown on its people to head off uprising. What is your sense of what's going on the ground today? We know that the military and infrastructure has been largely degraded by the U.S. and Israeli strikes, and yet Iran, according to the Journal, unleashes this new crackdown on people, even if we are looking at a leadership vacuum. What can you tell us?
That's right, Maria. What I can tell you is that from what we're hearing from people on the ground, from the sources who reach out to us and who share information with the prince, from within the state establishment, from activists on the ground, is that people are on the regime's Basij, on the IRGC, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, that are holding people hostage, that are threatening them at gunpoint, slaughtering people in the streets, is so critical. So when you see these IRGC and Basij checkpoints being targeted, that's giving further and further hope and empowerment to the Iranian people. It's greater evening the playing field so that they have a fair chance. President Trump was speaking yesterday and said exactly right that the people of Iran are extremely brave, but they're not stupid. They're going to go back into the streets at the right time, when the regime's repressive forces have been weakened, when the prince calls them to the streets. So that's what's happening right now. That's why the continued targeting of these repressive forces is so critical, so that at the end, the Iranian people can finish the job.
And of course, the former crown prince has told me that he's ready to step in and lead the country as soon as the regime falls, further working on his transition plan to ensure that Iran does not experience too much disruption in governance. I want to get your take on that. He joined me just a few days before the beginning of Operation Epic Fury. Watch this.
the first phase is focused on the immediate. What do we need to do in the first 100 days post-regime collapse? Look, we anticipate that as a result of a fundamental change in Iran, this would probably represent an over $1 trillion worth of revenue to the American market in the span of the first 10, 15 years, should things change. And there are a lot of Iranian Americans that are representative of various companies from Silicon Valley to other places who are willing to immediately step in and invest billions of dollars into the Iranian economy. And all of that would bring about a very prosperous future for the Iranian people, but also, I think, in the best interest of America. The Iranian people are our true allies and partners. That should be the horse we bet on from now on.
So, Cameron, are you in touch with moderates on the ground in Iran right now in terms of a coalition? And do you believe the Crown Prince has the majority support from the Iranian people?
Maria, the Crown Prince absolutely has the majority support of the Iranian people. That's been proven time and time again on the streets when, at his call, millions of Iranians took to the streets in every single one of Iran's 31 provinces, chanting his name, calling on his return, calling for his leadership of the transition to the ballot box, to a true secular democratic system, which has always been his mission in life. And of course, he's in touch with Iranians across the country and across the world. I'll give you a few examples. Just yesterday, Maria, the Prince announced the formation of a transitional justice commission to investigate the crimes of this regime and to ensure justice after the fall of the Islamic Republic for the perpetrators of the crimes against the Iranian people. Right. He nominated and chose Shirin Ebadi, Iranian Nobel Prize winner, to chair that commission, along with a commission of Iranian attorneys and activists who will lead that process at his direction under his leadership. He's in touch with forces within the country, including within the state bureaucracy, who at the right moment are ready to pull away from this regime and to ensure a stable transition. The Prince is really the one person who can unite Iranian society, from the armed forces, from the bureaucracy, to the business community abroad, and ensure stability going forward. And I think that's what the entire world is looking for.
Absolutely.
After 47 years of terror, for stability and peace, and that's what he brings.
And I understand that, Cameron, and I feel like this thing would be over at this point if it weren't for the Iranians keeping a hold on the Strait of Hormuz. And the fact that they are bullying tankers from coming through the straits, people are afraid of drones. What is your advice? What is your best advice to loosen up the Strait of Hormuz right now?
Well, look, Maria, you're exactly right, and you know this better than so many other people. The Islamic Republic, its first and foremost tactic has always been hostage-taking, from taking hostages at the American embassy in 1979, from taking now the Strait of Hormuz hostage, taking the Iranian people hostage for 47 years. The only way that we're going to finally end this is for this regime to be relegated to the ash heap of history where it belongs. Because when this regime is gone, the Strait of Hormuz will no longer be symbolic of crisis and holding oil production hostage. It'll be symbolic of a new region. That's exactly what the Prince's Iran Prosperity Project advocates, is Iran re-entering the Middle East, re-entering the community of nations to bring peace and prosperity. So the advice, only advice I can have, is for President Trump to continue his policies. He has really made history in holding this regime to account. He's been the first and only president willing to do that. It's to stay the course, continued his disciplined leadership. The people of Iran support what he's doing and are
alert. We are awaiting word from the president as he meets with Ireland's Taoiseach, or Prime Minister Michael Martin, to mark St. Patrick's Day. He could speak, of course, the big backdrop to everything these days, the conflict with Iran and developments breaking just a short time ago. I'm Harris Faulkner. You are in the Faulkner Focus. Central Command has released new video of Operation Epic Fury. On the left of your screen, you see the precision strikes taking out that terror regime's targets. On the right side of your screen, operations from on board an aircraft carrier with the caption, "Teamwork makes it all work." Indeed, it does. The very latest update from CENTCOM is this. U.S. airstrikes have hit more than 7,000 regime targets so far. 6,500 combat flights have taken off during the mission, and strikes have destroyed or damaged more than 100 terror regime military vessels. President Trump on the mission.
We hit them so hard like nobody's ever been hit. We hit them very hard, and we've extinguished most of their missiles. We've extinguished most of their drones. We've extinguished most of the places where the missiles and the drones are built. We've fully extinguished 2 layers of leadership.
Israel has announced today joint strikes with the United States have killed 2 more top Iranian officials, and that is a huge headline. One of them was leading the regime's National Security Council. The other was the leader of a brutal force tasked with slaughtering all those protesters. Retired Navy Vice Admiral and former Deputy CENTCOM Commander Mark Fox is coming up in focus. First, let's go to Chief Foreign Correspondent Trey Yingst in Israel. Trey.
Harris, good morning. Significant strikes overnight. The Israelis say they took out Ali Larijani, the de facto leader of Iran, the man who was the secretary of Iran's Supreme National Security Council. And he was even in the streets of Tehran on Friday, directly threatening President Trump and the United States. Today, he is dead, along with another top commander in a separate strike against the Basij forces. This is a wing of Iran's IRGC. And Gholam Reza Soleimani, the man responsible for ordering the crackdown on protesters earlier this year, was also taken out. An Israeli official tells me more than a dozen Basij officials and commanders also killed with him. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu speaking today about the success of these operations.
We are destabilizing this regime in the hope of giving the Iranian people the opportunity to remove it. It won't happen all at once, and it won't happen easily. But if we persist, we will give them the opportunity to take their fate into their own hands.
Earlier today, the Israelis launching a fresh wave of airstrikes against the Iranian regime. You can see in this video released by the IDF on Sunday, these strikes have pummeled Iran for the past almost 2.5 weeks as this operation continues. All of this taking place as the Iranians are responding with ballistic missile fire toward Israel and using their proxies to target U.S. interests in the region. Overnight, an Iran-backed Iraqi Shia militia targeted the U.S. embassy in Baghdad with rockets and drones. You can see on the horizon here in Baghdad that explosion. The proxy Hezbollah in southern Lebanon launching new attacks overnight against northern Israel. This is the community of Nacharia. And there were a significant amount of rockets fired over the border. 6 people injured there. President Trump over the weekend was asked about the possibility of a deal with the Iranian regime.
Now into the 3rd week of this bombing campaign, what would that deal look like? What are the ask that you're making of the government?
They want to make a deal. They're talking to our people. I don't know if they say that to you. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. Don't forget, they are a country that for years, I didn't know this until recently, they're a country based on disinformation. And now they're using disinformation plus AI. And that's a terrible situation. That's a terrible situation.
The Israelis focused on Iran, but also looking at Lebanon, where they launched new strikes against the Dakheh neighborhood of southern Beirut. Some of the aftermath of those strikes you can see here. Israeli ground forces are moving deeper into southern Lebanon to try to reduce this threat from Hezbollah. And Harris, we do have some new information for you here. The Israeli Transportation Authority at this moment is considering closing the airspace over Israel tonight. They've gathered intelligence indicating that Hezbollah is planning another large rocket barrage into this country. Harris?
Trey, thank you very much. In fact, we'll start there with my first guest, Mark Fox, retired Navy Vice Admiral and a former CENTCOM Deputy Commander. Good to have you today, sir. First of all, closing the airspace of Israel because Hezbollah terrorists, the proxy, that terror proxy of Iran, could fire missiles. Your first reaction and thoughts on that?
Well, the Iranians have not changed their stripes, and they're using proxies just like they have in the past. Lebanese Hezbollah being primary one of them, but Hamas, the Houthis. And so that's their playbook, and that's all they know how to do is they're aggressive against their neighbors. They are the author, the reason for all of the malevolent activity that's been going on in that region for 47 years. We don't feel like we've been at war necessarily that whole time, but every single time you hear them say death to America, I think we ought to take that pretty literally and seriously. They've been at war with us for 47 years, and we ought to take it seriously. and we are.
What does it say, though, about the airspace situation in Israel? And I ask that because there have been so many more drones than anybody had anticipated, reportedly. I don't know about the ballistic missile situation and the count of those, but we seem to have decimated them by north of 90%. So if that's the case, why close the Israeli airspace? What is the immediate danger that perhaps we did or didn't see?
Well, there are still an awful lot of missiles in Lebanon. They eliminated, 75% of them, but we're talking probably close to 100,000 missiles in Lebanon. So there's still, I think, in the thousands of missiles that they may still have to deal with. They've reduced that threat tremendously, but it's not gone completely.
That's so interesting, because when I was talking about that decimation, that's Iran. But what you're saying is there are still a lot of missiles in Lebanon. House Speaker Mike Johnson just responded to the director of the National Counterterrorism Center's resignation. Here's what he said, quote, "Iran posed no imminent threat to our nation." Johnson's response was this.
So we all understood there was clearly an imminent threat, that Iran was very close to the enrichment of nuclear capability, and they were building missiles at a pace that no one in the region could keep up with. They were far outpacing our allies and friends and us in our defense capability, because we had personnel, installations, members of the armed services and civilians in the region. Iran was building up ballistic missiles at such a rapid pace, and we knew that their plan was to fire them upon Americans.
What's your reaction?
Well, Iran's strategy to close the Strait of Hormuz, to fire missiles at its neighbors, just think about if we had not initiated this campaign and how much worse it would be if they were able to complete their plan to build thousands and thousands of ballistic missiles and drones. So this, as I mentioned before, the Iranians have not changed their stripes. They are the author of everything that's bad in that region, and it's time for them to be that threat to be eliminated from the family of nations.
I want to ask you about the two top leaders. One was reportedly the National Security Council member, and the other was this commander of the Basij elite group inside the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, the IRGC. How is replacing those people maybe not as worrisome, knowing that you've taken so many out? Because we were seeing a fold in, Ayatollah gone, then his son. Reportedly, we still haven't seen proof of life on his son, but there you go. What's your reaction?
Well, bad things happen to bad people sometimes.
Wow.
I guess that's the only way I could put it.
And should we be concerned about how they might fill the roles of these two men who were pretty critically at the top of what we've been seeing, the killing of thousands upon thousands of protesters just in the weeks before this conflict began?
Well, I think whoever steps up into that will probably meet a similar fate.
I mean, your answers are so concise and they're so direct. I want to know why you think that. Because what we've seen with terrorists before, and this is really a terrorist state, is that there are just waves of them. Is there a difference when you get to a certain level that you say, aha, that's an opening for the United States, for Israel, and our operations to say, we can do what we need to do now? Have we taken enough of the enemy's equipment out? Have we taken enough of the enemy out?
Oh, this campaign, let's put it in context. This is probably the most remarkable air campaign ever waged. Back in Desert Storm, we were how many sorties per target? Back in Iraqi Freedom, we had shifted into precision weapons and how many targets per sortie. They've taken this to an entirely new level now. This is unprecedented. And so in spite of the fact that, Iran is twice the size of Texas, it's a large country, a lot of people, and they've built a lot of very bad things that need to be eliminated. Back to the discussion of the succession of leaders, I think that as long as the Iranian regime, as it is known today, there will always be people. They don't think the same way that you and I think, Harris. This is the regime that sent little boys with plastic keys in the Iran-Iraq War back in the 1980s to clear minefields. That was they sent little boys out to die to clear minefields. And
the insanity of the enemy.
That's the kind of people we're dealing with. So we may have to kill
There
a
are
lot
probably
of them in
guaranteed
this regime
72
to be able
virgins
to
in heaven.
accomplish,
When
our
in heaven, there
objectives,
is no marriage
but
nor
we
given in
must
marriage.
not grow weary
There's
of
no
doing
male
what
or
we know is
female.
right.
What are you going to
Look,
do
the
with
Strait of
sex in
Hormuz,
heaven?
last question. Is there a way to tackle that? Our allies are so slow in Europe to get on board with what the president is asking them to do. Your last thoughts on that?
Well, the Strait of Hormuz it's a solvable problem, but it takes time. The geography is set. It is what it is, and we need to have an absolute godlike awareness of what's going into the water. I haven't seen or heard any reports of mines going into the water, and we've also destroyed their small boats and their mine layers. So I think, in terms of mines, I think we're probably okay. But the ships that have been damaged have been hit by these drones and by coastal defense cruise missiles, and we still need to continue to eliminate them. But if you look at how many weapons that they're expending as opposed to what they started with, the curve is in the right direction. We are eliminating their ability.
Vice Admiral Fox, thank you so very much for being with me. I can't wait to have another discussion.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.
Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Brian Yennis, national correspondent for Fox News, reporting from the London Bureau as part of our war coverage of Operation Epic Fury in Iran. Now, today, my story is about the U.S. and U.K. relationship, essentially in tatters because of this operation. And I'm going to walk you through the latest of what we're seeing and reporting from the ground here in London and how this is all sort of really, it doesn't seem to be getting all that much better. Right now, the very latest thing to happen is that you've got UK's Liberal Democrat leader, Ed Davey, who is calling on Prime Minister Keir Starmer here of the UK to urge King Charles to cancel his official state visit to the United States in April to send a message to President Trump and the Americans that they're not going to be pushed around. Now, all of this is about the fact that President Trump and the United States are unhappy with the fact that the UK was not being very cooperative, in President Trump's words, being very uncooperative when it comes to helping the United States in Operation Epic Fury. Now, Ed Davey released a statement and he said, quote, given Trump's illegal war that is devastating the Middle East and pushing up energy bills, Keir Starmer should advise the king to call off April's state visit to the U.S. A state visit should not be given to someone who repeatedly...
All right, let's get a new video up in here. That one's old from the other day. Brett Baer. Man, I don't know what to think of this guy for Fox. Let's just watch this video and see what it says. Let's see here. All righty. 10 seconds away. Here we go. Moderators, it is good to see
White
you.
House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles says she has been diagnosed with early-stage breast cancer.
Oh,
President
God, no.
Trump, who broke the news yesterday, called Wiles one of his closest and most important advisors.
She announced a minor difficulty, which will be in good shape. Faster the better. She's going to do it immediately. So she just started, actually. And she's going to be in great shape. The prognosis there is excellent.
In a statement, Wiles thanked President Trump for his support and said she plans to continue working during her treatment, showing us the way.
That's awesome. That's a trooper right there.
Too, and her health. Meanwhile, President Trump says he would like to delay his planned trip to Beijing, China, because of the war with Iran. The president had been set to meet with the Chinese leader Xi Jinping at the end of March, first part of April. That now is going to be postponed by about a month or so, we're told. It comes as the White House pressures China to try and help reopen the vital Strait of Hormuz. As much as 40% of Chinese oil, I'd say at a minimum 40%, travels through the strait. So stand by and we'll let you know when.
Good morning.
Let's just play a little bit of President Trump talking about the allies.
Thank you, because many of them get 90%.
Exactly,
Japan
Don, exactly.
Gets 95%.
Starmer is
China,
useless
91%.
on that, Lawrence. Totally.
Many of the countries, South Korea gets a
I hate
tremendous
about the
percentage
UK leader,
of
but
their oil, and they're therefore
he's too afraid of Islam in his country.
from the Straits. and, or as they call it, the strength, and as they should be helping us. What does surprise me is that they're not eager to help.
Where is this going, Brett?
Well, good morning. Happy St. Patrick's Day. I think it's, I think there's a level.
You know, I would like to know what's going on with Tucker Carlson. What's going on with him nowadays? I mean, I used to love him when he was with Fox.
Of frustration actually inside the White House about some of the countries not getting on board, considering all the percentage of oil that goes through the Strait of Hormuz. China is one that gets about, to the president's point, about 90% at some point. And there is a sense that escorting that through is a key part here. In the meantime, I think the European nations and others are hoping that this is going to end sooner rather than later, and that there's going to be a negotiated settlement. And
So
they're
Russia,
not ready
do you
to
feel you need to
put
be in
their
safe
military
space?
out there if
Where
it's
is
going
safe
to
in
end
the world? Nowhere.
very quickly. But it's a catch-22. I met this
Yeah,
morning
Tucker
with the Chinese
has. I think he's flipped his lid or
and
something. I
they
don't know what happened
confirmed
to
that
him.
They did
I
get
think what
word
he
about
feels in his heart is
the trip
finally
to China
coming
being
out
delayed,
about
probably
Israel.
4 to 5 weeks. But it is interesting to watch the president try to get these countries to help him get the escorts through the Strait of Hormuz.
Yeah, my understanding it's going to happen. They want it to happen. But it could be punted for about a month, and we'll see what comes of that. I was watching your show last night. You had the Irish Prime Minister on, the Taoiseach. I have to look that word up every year on St. Patty's Day. He's talking about investments, and some of that's been lost in the past 18, 19 days, I'd say, with regard to Iran. But here's what he told you.
Overall, you're looking at about $390 billion of investment ongoing over the years, increasing all of the time. 800 Irish companies now employing thousands of people, about 200,000 people across America, which illustrates the transformation of the relationship between the U.S. and Ireland. It's a two-way economic street.
I want to get your reflections of what you learned from him, because moments from now, we're going to see him and the president there in the Oval Office and the exchange of shamrocks, and we'll watch that together.
Yeah, the Bowl of Shamrocks is every year. This year it comes with $6.1 billion in investment of Irish companies investing inside the U.S. And each leader, as we've seen with President Trump in particular, seems to come to the table with that. And the Irish would like to increase that relationship. There is some tension. The Prime Minister, the Taoiseach, is not a fan of the Iran action. He is one that would like to see more dialogue, as we're hearing again from the EU nations. But they're considered, the Irish, the kind of whisperer to some of those EU countries. And I think some of that you'll hear today with his meeting at the White House.
Meantime, there are domestic issues going on. And in fact, there was a little dust up yesterday between Senator Cornyn and Congressman Kassar of Texas outside of the Austin airport, talking about the DHS shutdown and the TSA employees going a second paycheck period with $0. Watch.
Hey, Senator, I was hoping that we could. Why don't you tell your Democrats to vote to pay the employees? Let's do it. Let's do it. No, why don't you do it? No, I've voted for it time and time again. Let's go. Let's talk for a second, Senator. No, there's a bipartisan bill to fund just the TSA. Can we do that together? Not acceptable. Not acceptable to fund just the TSA. How about all the terrorist attacks like we see down on 6th Street? You want those to continue? These people are keeping us safe. Tell the Democrats to vote.
Brett, where is the uncommon ground that's going to get America out of this mess?
Yeah, I think this is really interesting. Politically, it seems to be going a little bit towards the Republicans as far as the glaring, you have to solve this. The Democrats kind of trying to split the bill into just funding the TSA is not really flying, and you're seeing that dynamic there with Senator Cornyn. I have the Senate Majority Leader, John Thune, on. I'll be up on Capitol Hill for a special report, and we're going to ask him all about this. The politics of it are one thing, but you have TSA agents now that have missed one check getting to 2 checks, and it's a crucial moment.
Not fair to them. Brett Baer, thank you. We'll be watching tonight. Senator Thune's got a lot on his plate, and you've got a lot of questions, so we'll watch tonight.
Well, here's the thing with Israel.
Thank you, Brett. We'll see you there.
A lot of people.
Hey, it's Will Kane.
A lot of people believe.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News channel on YouTube. It's the best way to get our latest interviews.
Okay, so as I was getting ready to say, well, speaking of Tulsi Gabbard and Kash Patel, I see him on the screen there. I got to reset it back up again because I accidentally started this stream, meaning it to be the other stream, and this stream. Anyway, I messed it up. On Thursday morning, right here, we are going to have, we're going to be listening at 8:30 a.m. to Gabbard and Kash Patel talk about the United States threats, our enemies like China, Russia, cartels, and Iran. And we're going to watch that here live. And then, yeah, so when it comes to Israel, there's never going to be peace in that area of the world. The Middle East is going to be a battleground. Now, there may be small pockets of peace, like when the Antichrist comes to power, it says he'll cause Palestine and Israel to come to a 7-year peace treaty. Now, halfway through that peace treaty, the Bible says, the Antichrist himself will force his own peace treaty to end at the 3.5-year mark of it. Because it says that he will cause the sacrifice in the rebuilt Jewish temple. So the Dome of the Rock almost being hit over the last few weeks of this war. If it gets hit, I'm pretty certain we are definitely shortly into the beginning of the final 7 years before Christ returns. Because Solomon's third temple is going to be built on that section of land. They've got the blueprints. They've already trained the priests. The priests have the tools created. We got the red heifers from Texas to Israel. And if I understand correctly, a red heifer, 100%, every hair on that heifer's fur is red. So now they can start training the priests. And so when that temple, which only takes 11 to 14 months to rebuild by modern day technology, that's less than a year to just barely over a year. Once it gets built, the Antichrist will rise to power. Most likely the head of the United Nations is an assumption. And he will cause Israel to stop their sacrificing of animals because they're fixing to start again once that temple's rebuilt. And so there's never going to be a lasting peace in the Middle East until Christ's return. And then there'll be just 1,000 years of peace, which by God, that's pretty good, seeing how there has not been a lasting peace for 4,000 years in the Middle East since Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob and the Ishmael and Hagar situation that created the Palestinian state. I don't blame Ishmael and his mom Hagar for being angry. They were sent out to the desert to die, but God himself, believe it or not, said, nah, that's okay. You guys don't got to die. Hagar, I'll make a great nation out of you. Basically the same promise with some differentials that he gave Abraham, that I'll make your people as numerous as the stars. Well, the promise didn't come forth until Isaac was born. And then Sarah said to Abraham, why don't you go bang your handmaid, knock her up with a bambino, and then you'll have your son. Apparently God's not ready for that yet, but just go ahead. And Abraham's like, nah, it's okay, baby. I love you. And she's like, no, go get a bambino from our handmaid. And so he knocks her up. 9 months later, pops out the bambino. That's going to be the father of Islam and the Palestinian people. Well, at least the father of the Palestinian people. Islam came along later, but still. And then God says, Abraham, take you and the missus, even though you're 190 years old. Go have fun for a night. Here's a free pass. Here's a free token for one another to be young again. And so they go do the deed. Abraham knocks up Sarah. At the time, her name was Sarai, if I remember correctly. Then her name changes. And she has Isaac. The baby Isaac is born. This is a mini Bible study, folks. Here comes Isaac. And Abraham said, hey, handmaiden Hagar, I know I just knocked you up with a bambino. Take you and the lad and go into the desert and die. And God says, I don't think so. And God's doing a Trump dance. And now we're going to have a battle. And the battle between Islam and Palestine has not ceased for very long. Over 4,000 years of human history. And the Antichrist shows up, probably the head of the United Nations at the time. So first off, watch Israel more than any nation, including the United States, when it comes to Bible prophecy for the last days. Watch Israel first, my father taught me. But then, United States, seeing how we're in Daniel chapter 7, verse 4, along with Great Britain and Russia, theoretically Germany. Interesting, isn't it? Why is Trump the only one to get them to the table? Well, Clinton got him to the table, if I recollect. Now, I could be wrong about that because I was only like 18 when Clinton came into office, and I really wasn't following politics. I didn't start following politics till 2004 when I went to Bible college in Oakdale, a.k.a. St. Paul, Minnesota, Minneapolis area. You know, where all the fraud's going on. Oh, by the way, Mike Shriver Ministries, just so you know, I have messages out to Nick Shirley. I doubt it, but you know what? God's performed miracles in my life before. I asked Nick Shirley to go live on my channel. I ain't got nothing to offer him. He'd be doing it out of the goodness of his heart. I also asked Nick Shirley if I can start playing his videos on this channel. That way I don't get a copyright strike. You know, if you're going to have your own channel, do your own material. Grow your channel that way. I'll help people grow their channels as far as Christian ministry channels. But, you know, your content's yours. I'm not going to use your content on my channel and vice versa. But I asked Nick Shirley if I could do that. So we're going to hopefully get some sort of permission from Nick Shirley. Now, if it's on Fox News and it's something about Nick Shirley, usually you're okay with a major news broadcast system because there's something called fair use on YouTube. And news kind of falls into that category of fair use. And even if they do try to give you a copyright, usually they give you an opportunity to argue it. Usually I win them when it comes to news or music. But as far as me taking somebody else's content, like Nick Shirley, like it was last week, and I didn't even realize it. I thought this guy's channel was Fox. And I remember I kept saying, who's that guy's voice in the background? Who is that? And I finally realized and said, wait a minute, either somebody's hacked my headset or I'm using somebody else's content. And I realized it wasn't Fox. I immediately stopped and I went ahead and I deleted that video. And then I got some Fox News content on the same topic. I felt terrible. So anyway, here we go. We got the next video right on the way. Let's do this. And then I'm going to take a break. And then a little later, I'm coming back and I'm bringing some more Word of God like we brought this morning. After all, we might be at war. That's pretty much the only reason you're seeing me doing anything except Christian ministry videos. But we are at war. And we do need to know what's going on. And to be ignorant when we could actually know is foolishness on our side to ignore this war. Just like politics. There's nothing wrong with politics. I wouldn't want politics either. Enough, I live by a woods where I can get politics here. Just kidding. I know, it was silly. I couldn't help myself. Hey, if you ain't got a sense of humor, don't bother going into the ministry. Now, don't let that stop you. That's just my opinion. Okay, you need to talk. If you feel called to the ministry, go find your pastor this week and start talking to him about it. That's my best bet or my best advice for you if you feel like you want to start a Christian ministry. Okay, let me get one more video. And thank you guys for being here. Wow. The first time, I've been live twice today. I had some technical difficulties with my headset, got that figured out. And then when I came back live again, the trolls with souls warped in from every sector in the Federation to try to annoy me. But I had just me for a while, and then I got one person, two person. I gave Don Trump a promotion. And here we are. We got Leggett here, Jeff Depew. He's always by my side when he can be. And that faithfulness to the channel and indeed to God, Jesus Christ himself, because Jeff loves the Lord. When Jeff starts his channel, he's going to have my devotion and my help to help him do what I already know is in him to be able to do however he sees fit in Jesus' name. All righty. So here we go. We got another video coming at you right here from Fox. Oh, this is from yesterday, and I wasn't live much yesterday, so this one's going to work. And a video capture device, and wrong one. Do 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 dun 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 do 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 do. Nope, that's me. Dear God, you don't need to see two of me. Oh wait, no, that's the right one.
Hi, I'm Admiral Brad Cooper, the commander of U.S. Central Command, here to provide another update on Operation Epic Fury. First, I want to remember and honor our fallen warriors who made the ultimate sacrifice in the KC-135 refueling aircraft incident last week. We hold their memories and their families, their friends and their teammates in our prayers. Their selfless service and dedication hardens our resolve. For 16 days, we've delivered overwhelming firepower deep into Iran. This past Friday, U.S. forces executed a large-scale precision strike on Karg Island, destroying more than 90 Iranian military targets, including storage bunkers for naval mines and missiles and other military infrastructure. To date, our Air Force, Navy, and Marine Corps aviators have collectively flown more than 6,000 combat flights, demonstrating the unmatched capability of America's Joint Force as we maintain air superiority over Iranian skies. We continue to remain centered on our military objectives. These are well-defined and include eliminating Iran's ballistic missiles, drones, and naval threats. It's one thing to defend by striking launchers and intercepting missiles and drones, but it's another thing to eliminate the wider manufacturing apparatus behind them. And we are doing that today. We've talked about it in concept. Here's what it looks like in reality. Let me show you, for the first time, a few examples of how we are dismantling Iran's defense industrial base, which will prevent threats to the region into the future. Here you see a photo from March 1st of a naval drone storage facility located near the Strait of Hormuz.
Oh, but it's a non-cannon.
This is the same location, 8 days later, completely destroyed. Next, here's a photo taken of an attack drone production factory in Tehran on March 5th. Here's that same factory 6 days later after a devastating barrage of U.S. airstrikes. And finally, the Yazdi military depot.
Oh, look at this one. How beautiful that is, right?
These 8 buildings are part of the IRGC's missile command infrastructure and are used to produce light and heavyweight torpedoes. Now, here's that same military depot just last week.
What a massive improvement, I gotta say. I do like what they've done
there. U.S. and partner strikes are doing exactly what they are intended to do. Deliver on very clear military objectives to eliminate Iran's ability to project power against Americans and against its neighbors. We're also zeroed in on dismantling Iran's decades-old threat to the free flow of commerce through the Strait of Hormuz. Through a combination of air, land, and maritime capabilities, we have successfully destroyed over 100 Iranian naval vessels, and we aren't done. We will continue to rapidly deplete Iran's ability to threaten freedom of navigation in and around the Strait of Hormuz. Our progress remains steady, and we remain vigilant against the enemy. Now, a few thoughts about Iran. Over the last 2 weeks, they have launched attacks on Oman, Saudi Arabia, Israel, Jordan, Cyprus, Turkey, Azerbaijan, the United Arab Emirates, Qatar, Iraq,
John says,
and Bahrain.
The good old days would return, and we put out the Democrats and the rhinos.
Civilians.
They've done this
more than 300 times.
Really quick, because, well, I can because I care, and I just saved you from watching another commercial, which costs money to the channel, which I don't really care much about, to be honest. It does help, but let me say this. Oh my gosh, never mind. I'll wait.
which demonstrates their true nature
Oh,
as a
wait.
global leader of terror. In just the last few days, the Iranian regime launched a reckless attack against civilian neighborhoods in Tel Aviv with cluster bombs, an inherently indiscriminate type of munition. We join countries across the region in condemning this aggression, and we stand shoulder to shoulder with our partners in bolstering our own defenses. In sum, I will reinforce what I've said before. Iran's capabilities are declining as our capabilities and advantages continue to build. And finally, I'd like to talk about the extraordinary 50,000 Americans who are deployed across the region executing this vital mission. It's long been my belief that every success we have begins and ends with our people. And today I'd like to recognize our unsung heroes, the sustainers enabling America's joint force to unleash this devastating firepower 24/7. To be clear, there's no other military on earth that does logistics like the U.S. military, and our team is at the top of their game today. They're managing distribution networks that span thousands of miles to ensure that munitions, fuel, and supplies reach warfighters on the front line on time.
Oh, man, I've been looking
to
it
all our
up.
sustainers
Yeah.
and logisticians, thank you and keep up the great
I got an
work.
idea, guys.
And to the entire Operation Epic Fury team, keep pushing, remain steady.
The
fight to win.
F-47 is a
Thanks
thing
so
of
much,
beauty.
and Godspeed.
That airplane is sexy. That thing's sexier than most women I've seen in my 40. No wait, no, not 41. My 51 years.
Here to live now from Fox.
Um,
I'm Andy Mack.
Yeah, the F-47. It can either have a pilot or it can fly without a pilot, and it usually comes with 3+ extra drone ships with it that the pilot or the automated system, the AI system, could call back and send back those 3 ships, or just one of them or 2 of them, and they would absolutely wreak havoc on the enemy. And so the F-47 is just, it's sexy. It is drop dead gorgeous. Let's see if we can find a video of it here on Fox. Maybe they had presented it at one time, or another news network, so I don't get a copyright strike. Thank God we haven't got a copyright strike yet. We've had a couple like threats saying, okay, you could fight this. You know, you played a video, a music, you say, you know, even if you sing a song, like what I just sang a little bit ago, the good old, never meaning no harm, I'll get a warning, a copyright warning. Maybe that's how I should say it. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Hold her. Shut her down. All right, hold on. We got one more video here. I'll find something on the F-47 really quick. Okay. Everybody here loves Lindsey Graham, right? Yay! Okay, I got my opinions about him. He's not one of my favorite people. He's more of a war hawk. But when we're at war for a good cause, which this is, then I don't mind him so much. But we shouldn't be screaming war when we're not at war. That's what drives me nuts about him. So anyway, let's punch it, Chewy.
I want to bring in Mark Penn now, former Bill Clinton advisor, CEO at Stagwell. Mark, nice to have you on. Laura had a parent from Fairfax County on last night. All right, so she's got kids in the school, and here's how that went.
Wait, that's not Lindsey Graham, is it?
Every single
What
safeguard
is that
meant
guy?
to protect.
I'm just reading here, guys. Check this out. Business Insider says this. Can you guys see the screen? Let me see if I can see what's going on here. Go over here, and go over here, and go over there, and back here. Okay, so this says the F-15 Eagle deployed during Operation Epic Fury can fly 2.5 times the speed of sound. Take a closer look. And there's a video, so I'm going to find it. So the F-15E, which was produced in the early 70s on the drawing board, and I think they were released in, what, 1976, shortly after, I think it was, the F-16, or vice versa. The F-15 Eagle is an absolute war horse. It can fly faster than the F-35, and I think it can go faster than the F-22. And the new upgraded version of the F-15 Eagle is an absolute tank. You can load that joker down with bombs, and it won't even slow down to pass gas. Also, my friend, kinda, because I'm getting to know him a little bit through his channel, Max Afterburner USA. In fact, Max Afterburner right here. I'm going to put it in the chat. Max, off my finger. I don't remember what that was. Max Afterburner USA on YouTube. Right there. I started moderating for him, and then me and another guy, but then his girlfriend took over moderation duties, and now my friend and I are backup moderators in case Sarah can't be there. But Max Afterburner, guys, go there, give him a subscription. I'm on there like every time he's live, almost, unless I'm live, because the word's going to come out first. And so Max Afterburner, his name's Ryan, which is a great name. That's my son's name. He's got a great name. He used to fly the F-15 Eagle, and he was in, I think he was in Iraq and in Afghanistan as a pilot. And I think he's got some kills to his name. But he used to fly that for the Air Force. So, he was kicking names and taking butts. Oh, wait a minute. Kicking butts and taking names. I'm sorry, dyslexia just jumped in there. But Max Afterburner, even Heart of Yeshua, my buddy, my good friend here, who's got a YouTube channel, by the way, Brother Ken, aka Heart of Yeshua, goes to Max Afterburner as well. Yeah, you know all about Max, and so does Angela, Child of God. I actually seen her in there one day, or saw, not seen, saw. I saw Angela in there one day when I was moderating like a week and a half ago. Again, my friend and I was moderating. I tried to get Ken in there to moderate. He must have either ignored my message or didn't see it, but I did try twice. And so yeah, Max Afterburner is awesome. He's a younger man. Then again, I'm old. I look like the Crypt Keeper, but I got a great big Jesus. And Max Afterburner used to fly the great big F-15 Eagle with combat experience. So when I listen to him, I know I'm listening to a pilot that's been there, done that, and it's got the t-shirt. So Max Afterburner, he's live now, I think once a day or once every other day. And again, Max Afterburner. And then here, my friend Ken, Brother Ken, has a YouTube channel, Christian Ministry YouTube. I missed your channel last night. Sorry, my friend. So it was YouTube. Let's see here. It is Brother Ken, right here in the chat, Heart of Yeshua, Bro Ken 7, aka